So tell me then, what is the biggest risk you've ever taken?
My most recent big risk, because actually I had the most to lose, was quitting my very successful job in the middle of a global pandemic to do something that I felt was right. Doing something that you feel is right is not always the most sensible thing to do, because in your 50s, you have a mortgage, you have a family to support, you have people who rely on you. And whilst I had taken big leaps of faith before, I drove to London with everything I owned in the backseat of my car and slept on floors and eventually moved into a bedsit the size of a disabled toilet to break into journalism, because I thought, right, London is where the jobs are, and I had no contacts. But I thought, right, you're never going to make it happen not being there, so go. I had nothing to lose. I was on my own. So, it's a much easier risk to take. Leaping again in my 50s was my biggest risk, because there was no guarantee that it was going to work. The whole world was changing. Nobody knew, how things were going to be coming out of the pandemic. But everything I spoke about a moment ago in terms of wanting to help women in a way that felt right for me, I wanted to make it a full-time thing, not a part-time thing. And I couldn't keep doing it whilst working on telly. So Nick and I sat, Nick, my husband, he's the co-founder of This Girl's on Fire and very much part of the whole machine of it all. We sat down and we wrote what we now call our blueprint for failure. And everybody thinks, right, when you do something big and, scary, but also a big leap of faith, you have a vision board and you write your success plan and, all of this. And absolutely you do. But you also need to have a plan in place for if and when it all goes wrong. So we wrote our blueprint for failure, which was, okay, so you quit your job. You have a certain amount of savings in the bank. I had other jobs lined up that were due to come in. Okay, the money will last this long. We think it will cost this much to get the business up and running. Are you okay with that? Yes. All right. What if this goes wrong? What will you do? Okay, I'll do this. Mm-hmm. What if this goes wrong? What will you do? And it was like a flow chart of disaster. And we kept going and going and going until practically you are now living in a box under Waterloo Bridge. Will you still keep going? Yes. Like, right. So I wrote my resignation letter in the notes section of my phone, went into work the next day, did what could have been my last show, because in TV is very similar to other industries where once you hand your notice in, you may well just be told to go. So I didn't know what was going to happen. So I was mentally, quietly saying goodbye to everyone, from the security man to the girl I bought my coffee off in the morning, to all the makeup girls, and even to the studio audience. When I signed off on that show, no one at home would have noticed, but I was giving a very meaningful Paddington stare kind of look into the camera as in goodbye. And then I got into my car and sat there, took the notes section, copied, pasted it, put it in an email, and resigned. And then just started the engine and drove home and thought, I have no idea what's going to happen now. And about half an hour later, the phone rang, and it was the head of daytime going, oh my God, I've been in a meeting. I've just come out and seen your email. Is everything okay? And I said, no, everything's fine. I'm leaving for me. It's been glorious, but now it's time for me. So she breathed out. And then actually they were wonderful. And I was able to stay and talk about what I was doing, which was beautiful. But in terms of risk, on the day I actually announced it on the TV, every brand that I'd had lined up to do corporate work and PR work, every single one of them dropped me because I wasn't going to be that lady on the telly anymore. And arriving home that day, and I'm a bit jittery. Oh, I've just announced it on TV. And then my agent rang and said, I'm really sorry, but they've all gone. So my safety net, that had been whipped away. So then it was a case of, right, let's unscroll that blueprint for failure and cross that one off. Now what do we do? And it's been like that ever since. You just have to hang on. It's a roller coaster ride. Okay, this has happened. Now what do we do? Let's regroup, let's rethink and keep going.